All right. Hello, everyone. We are live. Good afternoon. No, good evening. Welcome to the channel, Kyle AA0Z. And I am here with a cast of characters and Mike Walker down there in the left square. Don, N5SKT. Hello, how are you? Going to say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Everyone knows Don from the Discords. We got Bill from Ham Radio Tectonics. Hello, Bill. He's running his Mac software in the back. Jim, FEP Labs. Hello,
Howdy.
Jim.
Howdy, howdy.
Robert, Digital Rancher. Hello.
Good evening. Hello, everybody.
Jason, Ham Radio 2.0. And our speaker, our person of distinguished honor, Mike Walker from Flex Radio, VA3MW. Hello.
You know, there's a point in time, if I don't show up and watch the hockey game, you might not notice.
You know, we'd probably just have this discussion anyway.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Just talk about you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, there's Florida and Vegas in the finals. I mean, there's no ice in Vegas and there's no ice in Florida, so it's but it's a very interesting series. So anyway, we didn't come here to talk about hockey, but I could probably talk about hockey for the next 45 minutes. But we are going to talk about all of the cool things that work with Flex Radio. But first, there was some major news, and actually news that came out after Hamvention. A couple of things that if you are a Flex Radio user, you probably would like to know that might keep me honest here. The 6700 became end of sale as of Hamvention, but you are still going to service 6700s for a period of time, correct?
Yeah, it's, you know, in the software world, Kyle, we called it best effort service, but I suspect that will go on for quite a while. And we're going to fill any order that's in place. So it's always good to stop a little early in case something happened, but it's just getting hard to get the key parts. And the issue with parts sometimes is, well, can't you just substitute a part? Well, in stuff that has approvals and things required, it takes a lot more effort. And especially if it's in the RF section, you know, does it affect the spectral purity and certification and a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even know about. So it's not like, hey, if it was sitting on my bench and this resistor went in that transistor, I'll just look it up and see what's sort of close, but you can't always do that anymore. And so your next question is what's replacing it? And there is no answer that I can provide at this point in time.
Yeah. But
there is a request at 60. I mean, we need an 8-slice radio, right? That conversation is happening. So.
Right. I'm going to buy a 6600 because I want to do satellites from my house or from my remote station. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and buy a 6600 and put it down there. And if something comes out that replaces the 6700, I will deal with it then, right? But the 6600 is the best thing going for you right now, right?
Correct. And you're going to love it on satellite. I've done satellite before, but if you've never done it, you're usually dialing around. You don't have this waterfall, right? So, okay, we're all waterfall, bigots, hands up, right? It's like, oh, there's a guy calling CQ. And I go click, and he goes, no, and he QRZ, and then you call him right away. And, or even there's some funny things that satellite operators see this all the time, is watching people trying to find their downlink signal. So they're in transmit, right? And you're in full duplex. You're listening to your downlink, and you see these carriers go up and down the pass band, and it's sort of. And sometimes they're getting, and then it narrows down, and there's sometimes it gets worse. So it's sort of, it's all good. It's but I think that'll be a great choice, Kyle. I think you'll love it.
Yeah. So we'll have a 6700 and a 6600 at the contest station. So it'll be awesome.
I guess we should say, because people will ask, well, how do you do satellite? You'll need a couple of transverters. You can, I'm a big fan of the Q5 signal ones. I think they're incredibly clean. We actually have some video today of some guys on 2 meters here in Toronto that wasn't so clean. I could probably pull that picture up, but huge splatter. And then I don't know what you want to call it, sub splatter. Like you can see, we've all seen splatter.
Yeah.
And then you look out, another 5 kcs, and there's more energy out there floating around. The Q5 ones have been great. I think on a budget, if anybody asks, is go to blow the money, buy the 5-band Q5 signal unit, and then buy something like an SDR play and work that into your solution for your downlink.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That's a good idea.
I wanted it all in one box, but I mean, the software will support it all well. Not ours, but things like Dog Park, what was it, McDoppler, or not sure about HRD. I know it's supposed to do it, and they're probably making it a little better, but SAP PC32 for the Windows guys, or whatever, Gprotect for Linux.
I've been using HRD.
Has it been going okay, Jim?
Yeah.
And you should have seen Josh's stream. I think it was this weekend.
Last weekend.
When he tried to use SAT32 PC. And we went on for 5 hours and it never worked.
So Donna, you have to find my video for people like you and I trying to use it for the first time. Because I went for weeks going through that, and finally I took pity on people, and I did a video under my name. You just look for VA3MW and SAP PC32, but it's that walkthrough you need.
Yeah.
Like, how do you where's my active satellite? I mean, we know what's supposed to happen, right? We got to control 2 radios, and how do I update my caps? Okay. And then, how do I do my predictions? And anyway, so literally, I probably went for a month through that, and the only help
he was having trouble with the COM ports, and they
I could help you with that.
Yeah, but anyway, Mike. By the way, your video on transverters that you have on the Flex channel, that's a great explanation of how to buy a transverter.
Yeah.
It is confusing, but
yeah. Anybody who is thinking about buying a Flex or even has a Flex in the chat, maybe somebody can put the Flex Radio YouTube page in there. It is a huge resource of knowledge that Mike puts out there. And I'll tell you right now, none of the other manufacturers do the things the Flex does with the YouTube channels.
Yeah.
So
here, I'm not watching YouTube, so I'll dump it in here, and you can dump it wherever you want to.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Don. That's really nice. I'm really lucky that, I guess I'm good at it, but I'm lucky that Flex supports it and pays me to do it, because I see the value in the product delivery, but it also is a big hand in going back to my previous career's case deflection, like post-sales calls as well. Otherwise, we'd probably have to have 5 or 8 guys working on our support lines, and we have 2.5. Type of thing.
Are you going to get to demo a 9600 at some point?
I haven't even seen one yet. I'm a Canadian. If I go down there, they got to erase all the whiteboards. I know.
Well, they have a commercial version too, supposedly. I mean, I've seen the little flyers. Obviously,
for all you guys that want one, just talk to Andy and start with adding a 0. And I'm not quite kidding.
So the next piece of big information that came out of Dayton is Flex is working on a new Maestro. That hopefully will come out soon, but I know that still having some parts and pieces and whatnot. Fall. So the new Maestro, from what I saw, kind of looked like the old Maestro, but it did have USB-C, which is great. And I mean, everyone's clamoring for a new Maestro, and it's coming, right?
So let's talk about the front, where I don't think we're changing anything on the front, and I think that's great, because if you use a Maestro or an M model, the front of those units is craftfully can't speak tonight, designed. You go look. I say this in my club talks. I know Kyle's heard this a couple of times, but all the knobs I need, I'm looking at mine right now, are there. Volume, some bandwidth, power, mic gain, CW speed, the big knob, which I'm sure you can figure out what it does. And pretty much that's it. And then some menu for the stuff you change. So I took an FTDX 5000. Test question for everybody in the chat. I don't know what the lag is, but how many buttons do you think's on an FTDX 5000? I think that's the radio I counted buttons on one day. Buttons and knobs.
Yeah. Put it in the chat.
I'll take guesses here. Don, you want to guess?
Probably 40 or so.
Okay.
I have
Robert.
1D over here, but it doesn't have as many as the 5000.
Robert?
Yeah, I was going to guess 45.
Jeez.
I was going to say 40. I'm with Don on that, 40-ish. Let's go 40-ish.
I'm going to say 30. 30. I'm going to say 30.
Okay. I think Jason knows the number, right? Because we've had this conversation.
85.
Yeah, Jason's not over yet. So one of those two I counted,
105.
it was 118.
Holy
Wow.
And I counted twice and I got two different numbers. So it was somewhere around there.
You lost count.
You
that
got
high.
tired during all that
That's
counting.
right.
But there were like multiple levels of shift, like a function button and then
Oh,
a
yeah,
press and
yeah.
hold. And we get grief because we're complicated. And it was a bad joke. But anyway, I think whoever designed the front of the Maestro, I know who it was. They did a masterful job with that beautiful 8-inch display. And the back we're going to clean up a bit. So the headset's going to be a TRRS connector.
Yep.
So
Nice.
type of thing. I think we got rid of line out and line in because we didn't think they were enough power users to make it worth it. Saved us some manufacturing money. We're going to the battery system. I apologize for not knowing the model number, but it's the same thing that the electronic news gathering guys use for their cameras and stuff. So maybe a little pricey up top, but you can buy batteries from anywhere in the world for it.
So is it still USB-A connection on the battery port in the back?
No,
Is
it's
it
it's going to be a 24-volt supply for it.
Wow.
Okay, so you can use the unit, lots of power to charge the battery as well. And the battery will work. And if you were never around in the early days, we originally announced the first Maestro 2014, around 2015. Have this rechargeable battery. You grab your cell phone battery pack, you stick it in, the world's great. Well, as they came out to the alpha testers, weird things were happening. We learned that all these little battery packs aren't made the same.
Mhm.
By a long shot. Some of them charge when you put voltage on was a micro USB connector. Some of them don't. Some of them stayed on forever. They killed the battery in the tablet. They bricked a couple. And what should have been like a no-brainer turned into a couple, 300 or 400 man hours of trying to make this work until they finally just, no pun intended, pulled the plug on the battery on the back. It just, and we were trying not to have, if I remember the story correctly, and I wasn't working there, trying not to have to deal with shipping batteries, because once you ship batteries, you have a whole other shipping nightmare, and all this drives the retail cost up.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say you should just do it, but you have to pay for it somewhere or another. A lot of this is driven by economics. So that's how we ended up in that. But the Mojex battery pack clipped really well. For me, it held my Raspberry Pi back then before SmartLink, because that's how I used, soft ether to connect to my remote.
Will it still
So
be
they cleaned
12
it all up.
I'm sorry. Will it still be 12-volt powered?
No, 24-volt power. It's got a funky connector on it. So the next question is for 12-volt operators. What do you do? We're going to. We don't have a solution for that. I don't know if we will, because we think there's enough OEM solutions where you can do some sort of buck boost, and these charging units from I can go look at a chat from Steve. He tells me the manufacturer that makes it. They, the E&G guys have to charge batteries in cars and stuff all the time. So I don't think it's going to be such a big deal. For us, it's just, is it worth designing and the monetary investment to get there?
Yeah.
And then try to make it profitable.
Okay.
Right. So
More on that later.
Yeah, we missed so we were supposed to have this live stream last week, and I screwed up the schedule. I had a talk with Cal Poly on Node-RED, and I didn't write it down in my calendar. I flipped the dates. So thanks to Mike to pushing out a week. But I was trying to get this scheduled because the price went up for the Maestro on June 1st, and I was trying to get it in. But I think
we extended it to June 5th. But that's still,
okay. It's
In
still
the past.
It's still in the past. Yeah, gotcha. So if you want a new Maestro, and I guess you want it on the waiting list, you can put a down payment, right? And
don't even no charge. Just enter your order.
Oh, okay.
Cough up your credit card. That's just a verification thing that you're real. It will do. Let me spend a minute talking about this. This is pretty confusing for some people.
Yeah.
There's two parts when you buy with a credit card. There's the first part where you enter it and you see the money being, if you watched your account online, it's being held. Some gas stations do this, right? They'll do the $200 hold, and then 48 hours later it all clears up. So, or they only take what they need. And so the first part's just the pre-authorization component, and we get a call about this every week. And then the money goes back into your account. It's our next step is to go capture the funds and take them. And of course, we don't do that till, within 24 hours of shipping type of thing, or, a couple of days. I'm not sure exactly Kathy's rhythm on that, but it's sort of like the point when we've got the label printed that, we go get the money.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So don't excite that. And I do have a special right now. Now it takes a little bit to get there, but I will give you a free Maestro. You go to the back of the list, but you just have to buy an amplifier and a tuner. This is a $1,500 saving off all three. We've had a number of people take us up on that, surprisingly. So
Hey, Mike, I did that like 5 months ago. Just saying.
yeah, but you also yeah, we'll talk about
You're
that.
right. You're right. I had
You
to
got
try
to
that.
add. Shut up, Robert.
Yeah. You're digging yourself deeper.
I tried that with a car once. It didn't go over very well.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It sucks
new Maestro coming out in fall, which is great. And then I think you guys announced a new version of Smart SDR 3.4.23, right?
So 3.4.24 came out this week just to fix
24.
It only fixed one little thing. Although it's amazing how people tell us that something broke between 23 and 24, but it was just a power pick controller issue and some. There was a couple of radios. It's a handful that got out that if the radio wouldn't boot with a LAN cable connected, which of course is a bit of an issue for most of us. So we got that all resolved and fixed, and so 3.4.24 coming out. 3.5 is in alpha test right now. And if you were at Dayton, you saw the cool analog meters that are coming.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool.
I'm hoping those are in 3.5.
That would be sweet.
They're hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get shot for this, but apparently squelch works.
Ooh.
But I don't know exactly what happened there, and so I'll get shot for this. But I noticed it today. If you memorize a channel, and in the bottom right corner, at least I was on a Maestro, there's a squelch button. And if you highlight it, when you recall the channel, there's squelch on for sideband. Now, it's not the way we'd expect it to work, and I suspect there's more work supposed to happen on
Right.
this. But,
Right.
somebody posted about it in the community, and I went, huh? So, and so, of course, that's it. And I think essentially the squelch is set by what the FM squelch was. I mean, this is where it's one of those things that sort of escaped, and it shouldn't be there, but it's it's usable.
Gotcha.
So I apologize for that. It happens.
All right. Very good. All right, so the topic for today. Sorry, it took 18 minutes to get to the topic, but
Okay,
I wanted to I wanted to go over the Flex stuff in case people had not gone to Dayton or seen or read the Flex Insider or been on the forums. You got the information, but anyway, so tonight is about all the cool third-party products that work with Smart SDR. And there are so many, unlike some other manufacturers, because the Smart SDR is basically an open API, right? So if you have seen any of my Node Red videos, you know that we can install nodes and we can poll the radio and get all kinds of information out of the radio, like power and frequency, and not just like regular cat data. I know what the operating temperature of my PA is. I can figure out how fast my fan is running. I can do all of these really cool things, and people have capitalized on these really cool things, and they've made really cool pieces of software. So what I'd like to do is kind of go down the list here and bring them up one by one, and hopefully there's some screenshots, and I have a lot of them installed, but we're going to take a look at some of these more well-known third-party software applications and just talk about them and say, hey, these are the things that I work with and how I use them. I had no idea that you could do it with this piece of software. And we're just going to go down the line and just talk about all the cool things that you can do with the Flex. That is a third-party add-on based, on top of all the other cool things you can do with the Flex.
So Kyle, you quickly talked about Node Red. If you haven't heard us talk about it before, I'm going to say one quick thing. And here's one I implemented the other day. I have a 6-meter beam above my stepper, which also does 6 meters. Now, every time I go to 6 meters, Node-RED sends a retract command to the stepper elements, flips and deals with the antenna switch. And when I leave 6, it unhomes
Yeah.
anyway.
Node-RED. I mean, if you've been living under a rock and you're subscribed to this channel, you don't know what Node-RED is, because I've done about 40 videos on Node-RED.
Never heard.
Yes.
It's never FR Stack.
So the first piece of software is FR Stack, and FR Stack does. There's no screenshot, but I'm going to bring up my FR Stack, and it's probably not going to load because it's going to say, "Hey, you need to connect to a radio." Oh, actually, my radio's on, so actually it'll find my radio.
Just scroll down to the bullets there, and
yeah. So let's take a look at FR Stack here. And FR Stack, here's what FR Stack looks like, and it does a whole slew of things. I'll tell you, the first thing that I use it for is putting spots on my waterfall. And one of the really cool things you can do with a Flex is you can actually connect to a telnet server and actually put spots on your waterfall, and they're clickable spots, and you can literally, you've got a band map in N1MM for all the contesters out there. You're clicking down the band map. I can go across my waterfall and just click on spots, and it will automatically tune to those spots. But FR Stack does a lot of things here. Let's go to the options here, and it's got all of these different tabs, and I don't know if somebody wants to chime in here and talk about what they use FR Stack for. Don, do you use FR Stack at all?
Yeah, but I'll tell you the one thing that I use it for most often than anything, and you guys are going to hate me, but I use it to reboot the radio.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you need to, and this is the one thing that always works for me.
You have a Node-RED button for rebooting the radio? I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
I have the soft reboot with the RCA connector.
Yep.
But that's true. And I've told customers that are remote going, we've always recommend, you hook up the remote button, and just because, and, but that's a very powerful, I've used it for that as well. FR Stack's not a tool I use all the time. I do use it in contests all the time, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've had SmartLink, or not SmartLink, but Smart SDR lock up on me before, where it's not quite talking to the radio right. And I know that I need, if I reboot the radio, I'll try and see if that fixes everything. And FR Stack will still connect to it and reboot the radio, even though Smart SDR is not quite communicating. So, and usually that fixes everything up. But again, that's rare that I need it for that.
Right.
But
it's great for memories and pulling up your all the globals and stuff. If you're too lazy for 2 most clicks to go down, you can band stacking. If you're a band stacking guy, is there?
Yep.
Well, it's visual, right?
Yeah, those meters too. That meter window.
The sub-meter window. I have that up all the time.
Yeah, the one that has it's telling you your SWR and your power out and the heat that Kyle was talking about a minute ago.
Yeah.
And I watch that a lot when I'm running FT8, and just I'm way overcautious on it, more than I need to be, but I'll watch how hot it gets when it's running FT8.
Right. And if you ever have a friend use your radio on multiplex with you at the same time, you can see their VFO.
Yeah. I let Connor use mine at one time.
Oh, well, that was a mistake.
No, he honestly, he helped me quite a bit.
Connor's really good.
Yeah.
Connor's a very good contester. Excellent contester.
Now, where are you adding in the spots at there, Kyle? How did you get the spots into FR Stack?
Yeah, so if you come down here to options and you go to spots, this is where you put in your URL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So I've got a couple of telnet clusters that are running on Node-RED, and then you enable them, right? And then you click OK, and That's all you do. Well, actually, you have to come. You got to come over here to File, Settings and Spots, and you got to enable the spots.
Okay.
How do you log into the Telnet server with that?
What do you
'Cause
mean?
mine requires a like almost it's not a username and password, but at least my call sign to be given to the Telnet server, or it won't activate.
Yeah, I think that there is in the options here.
That's what I was wondering. I think there is.
SliceMaster
Well,
is actually
yeah.
better for that reason.
Well, your
Yeah.
call sign is
Call
on
sign right here.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the init command. And
Right.
if you that's how you do it, right?
Right.
There you go.
Right. It's all within that menu right there. So you can.
So it says URL, but it could be a Telnet connection, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is right here. This 1.15. That's my POTA spots.
Yeah.
So if I take a look at this, see KF0 DST. He's on POTA here. Let's see. There's nobody else. And, it's 8 o'clock here.
wow.
There's not a lot
Okay.
of people on POTA.
It's even worth it if you want to block FT8 spots.
Yeah. So if I come down here to FT8, there's probably going to be, nope, nobody
That's
spotted on
FT4
FT8.
right there.
Keep going.
Wow.
Nope, nobody's on FT8 that is running
Right.
POTA right now.
Well,
But
you
that's
look like
where,
you need look like you need glasses with having the waterfall that wide, Kyle.
Yeah. This is where SliceMaster will put all the spots on FT8
Yeah.
on the carrier.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's FR Stack.
Mhm.
Also, I believe that I just saw this in the community. Somebody wrote, if you've got a Stream Deck, and I've got a Stream Deck here, and I've
Mhm.
got a Stream Pedal, or whatever that thing is called down here.
There's a stream pedal?
Yeah, there's a 3-button pedal down there.
Oh, is that
That's-
the one that Don wrote about stomp on it?
Yes. Yeah. So if you got
We'll get to that one.
if you got FR Stack, some guy in the community, you have to go to the community, community.
Flexradio.com.
Yep, flexradio.com. He wrote a whole thing of pre-programmed buttons that all you have to do is load that profile, and it will automatically configure all of your buttons for a Flex and a PGXL and a tuner and yeah, all of the Flex things, or I'm sorry, all the Stream Deck things. It's really cool.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go out actually tomorrow and get the new Stream Deck because it looked cool whenever I saw the demo or the what he did with it. I'm just like, oh, I got to have that. So I'm going to go out and buy that tomorrow. So that is FR Stack. Anybody else use FR Stack or have any comments about cool things that it does?
I just started messing with it the other day after you and I were chatting.
You can have it with, I think it'll do it with 3 amplifiers, but I know on the Flex amplifier, anytime you key up bring the amplifier online, it'll automatically drive your drive power to a maximum of say 50 watts if you're worried about an overdrive type of thing. I believe FR Stack in the Flex world, that if you hit tune, it'll put the amplifier in standby, all those little cool extra steps as well. If you go get it, obviously this stuff is free. Poke around the menus and you'll see I was going to do a talk on FR Stack. I figured an hour wasn't enough just alone.
Yes.
It was the feature rich stuff. Like all of these we're going to see. And the same thing with SliceMaster.
Mhm.
And which I'm sure is probably next on your list or pretty
Yeah,
close
so
to
let's
it.
talk about SliceMaster. So I don't use SliceMaster, but I
it's my
probably
power
should.
tool.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about SliceMaster, Mike. What do you use it for?
So SliceMaster, if you get WSJT set up just once, or JTTX or FLDigi or DM780 or Gritty or any of the other stuff they support, it makes it incredibly easy to do multiple slices. So especially in the 6-meter world at this time of the year, I've got a slice on 50.313. I've got a slice on 50.318 for FT4. I might have a third slice open on 323 listening to Europe. and then that leaves me one because I have a 6600. I might go to 50.125. But the other three are all digital modes, and while WSJT or JTDX can all do these modes at the same time, you really have to figure out how to save it, get a shortcut and add a parameter into the shortcut and build the what is it, a rig control flag, Jason? I forgot what it is, but I know you're nodding your head because you've been there. And the beauty is, if you look here on the example on the screen, it's set up for 6700, but that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H across the top is for each specific slice. So in this case, we're looking at slice A, and if I wanted to start WSJT, I would just push it and it would spin up and start, perfectly configured and working. So now I take slice B, and I might be on a different band or just up the band or down the band, and maybe I want to start JTDX because I was using WSJT on MSK 144 for meteor scatter. So it makes those extra slice startups so incredibly easy, type of thing. So that's just one of the powerful things.
I actually have not used this because I have a 6400, which I need to.
But we can fix that.
I need to remedy that problem. Honestly, I was talking to Matt. He's like, "We can take a trade in." I'm like, "Yeah, I know you can."
Yeah,
So,
just talk to Andy. Forget Matt. Just call Andy and I will take.
Just call it. Okay, all right. Maybe that's what I'll do. But yeah, I mean, having the 4 slices in there would be really nice. I mean, I can do 2 slices now, but it's like the switch, right? So having the dual processors in there would be really nice. So I've been looking forward to this, but honestly, I have only used this like on demo tables at Hamvention and whatnot.
Right, and you really have to have an antenna system that supports it. That means you have to have more than one antenna,
or a multi-band antenna.
Yeah, or a multi-band. But if you have a multi-band antenna, then it's really easy to use one antenna and then multiple slices at the same time. Mm-hmm. Now let's exclude 6 because usually multi-band antennas and good performance aren't really associated with 6.
Well,
but 15, 20.
Okay, I'll give you that. But I say multi-band antenna. What I actually mean is multi-element antenna, like a hex beam. Which does do perfect. Which does do 6, but you're right. Your 5-element Yagi is probably much better on 6 than.
But the hex beam on 6 actually, when 6 is open, is a great antenna. Yeah, that's a good choice too. A 6400, a hex beam, and an 8040 trap dipole, is a really good budget station on a single slice radio. Mm-hmm. And Len's not wrong in that pop up either, right? So.
Yeah, but Jason, you get a 6600. You get transverters, and you get that new thing that Bob's releasing with the dual antennas, right?
I was just on Zoom with him today about that.
You'd be testing it for him.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm. Some of the other strengths of Slice Master that I really like is 2 things: wonderful integration to Ham Radio Deluxe. Now, I use the Ham Radio Deluxe logbook. I don't use Ham Radio Deluxe proper. I don't use DM780, but I love their logbook. I tried about 3 years ago. I went through every logbook that was being made, loaded all 30,000 QSOs on it because you can just import the ADIF file. And I came back to HRD. For me, what was important was the award tracking. It's just canned. It's built in. It works really smooth. The others did it, but this just worked for me. But I can see 2 slices on when I have properly configured Slice Master. Now, guys, you know what? Today's world, learn IP addressing. It's just going to make your life easier. You can start to forget COM7 and conflicts. Just take a minute, understand how IP addressing works. And the beauty is I had 2 slices open and they both showed up in Ham Radio Deluxe. Now, Dawn just released version 11 of Slice Master last week, and apparently the HRD interfacing is improved. But in my case too, I run Ham Radio Deluxe here at my house. Mm-hmm. And if you've seen any of my videos on remote, I always talk about having a PC local to the remote station.
Right.
So I run Windows Desktop doing everything local to the radio, but I run Ham Radio Deluxe logbook here, and thanks to being able to do IP addressing, I can just make it all work like one big integrated mess.
Right.
Yep.
The other thing is the aggregator for packet spots. So, and it will spin up a CW skimmer as well, as Kyle's showing. And then you can have the skimmer log in to the skimmer cluster. There's a little cluster server and skimmers, and also then log into, like V7CC or whatever DX cluster you use, and then have those all merged into one packet stream for your logging program. Like N1MM can only handle one logging cluster stream.
Yep.
So you need an aggregator to bring them all together if you're a serious contester. Or maybe you just run a cluster here and a cluster in Europe because you want to see the differences.
Or you write a Node-RED program and just aggregate it there.
Yeah. Or you're Kyle, he writes you a Node-RED program.
I'm surprised you don't use CW Skimmer, Kyle, for content.
No, I don't. I never did, but CJ WT2P turned me on to this program that these Ukrainians had made, and it was unbelievable. We used it for Missouri QSO party, and I was just like, I think I'm going to use that versus CW Skimmer, because it's it's called
SDC connector.
Yeah, SDC connector.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar.
That
with
thing is on crack compared to
Yeah.
CW Skimmer.
Comparing,
Yeah, and it's really easy to set up. I've set it up before.
Yeah.
But I never used it for CW. I've done this, and I saw a guy demo CW Skimmer running 100 words a minute in a contest, and
Oh,
he had
wow.
everything canned. You can look at what his next multiplier was in CW Skimmer. Click on, and then click a couple of buttons, and that was it. His QSO was done.
If you're not a contester, but you're a DXer and you're not using CW Skimmer to break a CW pileup on a DXpedition, you're doing it the really hard way.
Yep. Yep. Let the
The
computer
nice
tell
thing
you where to
using
call
Slice
C.
Master-
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that,
Who
Bill?
said so?
Yeah, well, the nice thing, again, I'm trying to learn all this stuff, and it's nice to have Slice Master and CW Skimmer running, and I can jump from hunting POTA to listening to CW to listening to sideband, and Slice Master will automatically bring up CW Skimmer, and I can have, like, I used Mike's. I watched Mike's videos faithfully, waiting on my radio. And so I have a PC set up on one side, and I'm a Mac user, and so I can have Slice Master running on the PC. I could be controlling my radio using the Mac, and they're all working together. It's just streaming through the Ethernet.
Yeah.
The IP addressing. You don't have to put it on one computer anymore.
Yep.
Keep in mind there is a cost for CW Skimmer. I think it's last time I checked, it was like $75, I believe. And
that's about it, $70 or so.
Yeah.
One-time
Alex
cost.
lives about 5 miles that way.
Oh, really?
NEA, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Great guy.
So yeah, CW Skimmer. If you want to run CW contests and you want to run with your own skimmer or your own cluster server, and hearing the spots that you hear, that's the way to go.
And it's decoding the whole band.
Yeah. It's not like it's decoding like whatever your VFO is on. It decodes the whole band. Yeah.
Yeah. And then with Slice Master, you can run 4 or 8 slices of CW all at the same time.
Yeah.
The
You need a little.
Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
I was gonna say you need a little bit beefier computer because it's it's crunching, but you can do it with a modern computer.
The RTTY guys, serious contesters like Chris, and they run SO4R in RTTY.
Yeah.
And then they run multiple decoders on the same slice because
Yeah.
they decode differently.
Yeah, MTTY and two-tone, right?
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Or FL Digi for that matter.
Yeah, it's true. True.
I'm going back to RTTY. No more FT8.
Blasphemy.
So the next one on our list here.
6 meters is still open. It's still watching FT8.
Oh wow! Everyone get on 6 meters.
I looked at it earlier. It wasn't open here, but I was getting ham alerts from N8YO who was working it again, so I knew it was open at some point today.
Flex buttons. I'm not familiar with flex buttons. It looks
They're
like a
new.
bunch of buttons, but it looks like maybe some memory buttons that
You know,
But
Keith
this-
is working on this daily type of thing, so I would go look at it. He's got some hot buttons. I guess if you know why you haven't looked at this, because you're using a Stream Deck.
Oh, gotcha.
You've probably filled that gap, but
Hmm.
I haven't had a chance to try it. But he's active on our Facebook group and the community, so give it a try. And if you've got any feedback, like Don from Slice Master, we had a great chat with Don at Dayton, or I call it Hamvention. He's always looking for ideas. What does it need next? And both these guys are really cool coding guys. So
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
The next one here on my list is the one that we had been talking about a little bit here. This is Deckmaster 6000. It's I'm not really sure where
know
the
this one at all.
6000
Sounds like a
well, that's
workout
part of
machine.
Stream Deck. Yeah.
Right. So if you have a Stream Deck, this is the cool stuff that we're doing in the Stream Deck, or people are doing on the Stream Deck. And here's
This
the
doesn't
new
work
Stream
really
Deck.
good, does it? There it goes.
Yeah, there it is.
That's my beam pointing, by the way, for the remote. So to go off geek for a minute, Kyle, what this does is send a simple MQTT command, which is just a pipe,
Yep.
into Node-RED, and it says turn the beam.
Oh yeah.
Just a
Yep.
one-word sentence. Sounds more complicated than it was, but other than
Here's
MQ.
the pedal, and there was some discussion in the chat, or the I don't know if it was in the community or where it was on Facebook,
community.
but somebody said, well, you got your Mox and your Vox on the pedal, and this is actually, it's a 3-button pedal, and you can have different things do different things for the pedals based on middle versus right versus left, and you can get different springs to them, so they're at different tensions. But
no way.
one of them was, well, whenever you just need that extra oomph, then you need 1500 watts. Here, that's the metal pedal. You just tap on that middle pedal and just go.
That was Don that said that.
Is that Don?
This is done by the author of Slice Master.
Ah, gotcha. So all of these devices, the Stream pedal is about $90. This new Stream Deck Plus is, I think, $199. But the smaller Stream Deck Originals, I think they're in version 2. You can get those for $125 for I think mine is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 3. So mine's a 15 button, same one that you see here.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean it's a cool way of having your. I like it in contesting because I can keep my home my not only my fingers on home row, so I can type fast for a call sign, but then also, instead of moving the mouse, I've gotten down to the point where, the mouse moves and I got to move all the way over here to click a button in Node-RED. Well, I have all of my buttons that I need on my Stream Deck. It's just one button, just one motion. And I click the button and I'm instantly have a different setting. So it's nice from that perspective of, if you need to do quick things quickly, a Stream Deck is your friend.
Okay,
And
now
not to take away from the Deckmaster 6000, but we didn't mention it. And I think FR Stack, I'm pretty sure, has a Stream Deck menu that you can incorporate Stream Deck into FR Stack.
I think
Yeah.
they do. I think I remember seeing
Oh,
that,
wow.
Bill.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Cool.
No, this
Just
looks
like
interesting. They've got. Did you set these? This is his default keys he's got in here.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
So then you tweaked it after this, or did you pretty much go with that? You got to tweak to your Node-RED setup so you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have it. Yeah, I have a different profile that I use for Node-RED, but I use his default for the pedal here for Mox. That's how.
Okay.
That's my push to talk now.
Okay.
My foot pedal for push to talk.
I'm glad you brought this up, Kyle, because I totally missed this as an announcement. So I'm the first guy to buy something tonight.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot in ham radio workbench.
I've
so-
already bought the
Yeah.
6600, Mike. I'm not buying another one right now.
I check your email, Mike.
I already saw it, Jason. Nice try.
So you're not the first one then. Although, okay, I'm not charged yet. Okay.
Not charged yet. He wants to be bumped to the top of the list.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No special treatment on at least this stream.
No, I didn't expect anything on this stream, but I can't always reset the Zoom password, Kyle. So be careful.
That's true. So the next thing here is DDUtil. Now, I will preference. Maybe it was just me, but I I installed DDUtil in my early Flex days, and I just had a lot of trouble trying to figure out what was going on. And I'm looking through now the documentation, and there's a lot more documentation now than there was whenever I first used DDUtil. So I'm going to not comment on this piece of software because I don't have it installed, but I see that it's got pretty good documentation now.
Yeah,
Anybody using?
K5FR, I haven't used it since early days either. But as we got into more IP addressable stuff, because this supported all the COM ports and stuff.
Right.
But in the first 3 or 4 years of Flex Radio, for me, I was happy to donate to his cause, K5FR, because it was really great. And we still have some people that use it, but I don't. Maybe somebody in the chat's using it.
Yeah, if you're using some of this stuff, pipe up in the chat and tell us your experience. Tell us what you use it for. I know that it has a lot of the same things. It's got your voltage in, your temperature of your PA, your forward, and your SWR. I mean, it's these things are visual things that you are putting on your desktop. And it's like a mini Node-RED system, right? But you're at the mercy of what these guys program everything at. Right. But you get a lot of information in a small package with some of these pieces of software, right?
I'm trying to remember. Did it support more than one Flex control knob?
Yeah,
I don't know.
This is pretty old software too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty solid though. It's old, but still, don't confuse the age with its functionality.
It's like us, right? Old, but still solid.
Yeah.
He still does have a lot of great features, and I should go look around at it again. But the contesting guys in the early days loved it long before global profiles because you could set drive powers. It communicates with a number of amplifiers. I had a KPA 500 at the time, so I think that's why I was using it. I'm looking at your screen here, but more certainly reads all the meters.
Yep.
It actually, we'll talk to an LP 100 watt meter, which I think those are some of the best watt meters available.
Yes. Yep. Now that you're saying this was very a lot of contesters liked it because it was a KPA 500, it was a stepper IOR, it was a rotator, it had BCD data coming out of it. It did all the things that you needed to do in one package.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a Swiss Army knife you needed to glue the station together, especially for the first early remote guys. But
right.
And it's solid code, so it's good stuff.
Yep. All right. Next one here on our list is
Kyle,
this.
Can you do Control Plus a couple of times? Just zoom in on the screen a bit.
Yeah. You mean on the next one?
Well, yeah, just on your browser. So.
Gotcha. Hang on. How about that?
It's beautiful, man.
So the next one here is this is SDR Bridge. And I remember configuring this in the early FT8 days, but I don't think that you need to do that anymore, right? I'm not really sure. Yes, or CW Skimmer. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. If you use it with Slice Master, you do not need the SDR Bridge.
And looks like this program's up to 3.1. It's got support for flex control knob support. Yeah, I haven't used SDR Bridge. I had it installed at one time, and it kind of went by the wayside. But here is some screenshots, and you can see that it's got some IQ channels in there, and it's yeah, I used it for configuring CW Skimmer. All right, so the next one here is we're going to get into some CW. This is let me bring this up. Remote keyer interface. Now, one of the things that is still a gripe for some people is let me bring this in a bit. Come on, Oh, it's not going to let me do it. Why is it going to let me do it? Come on.
You try Control Plus.
Got
Or
it.
you do it that way.
Yep. So one of the concerns that people that run remote is, how do I get my CW tone, my side tone, my dits and my das into the radio whenever it's remote, you know? And if you have a Maestro, it's got a keyer built into it, and you plug it directly into the Maestro, and it works, right? But if you don't have one of those, there's a couple of different things you can do. One is this remote keyer interface that connects to Smart SDR, and you build a little interface that connects into the serial adapter or the USB port on your PC, and you've got your keyer, and you build this little circuit. You can barely probably see it, but here's the circuit that you build, and if you're a tinkerer, it could be something. And it uses, I believe that it shorts a couple of pins whenever it keys, right, Mike? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, there's about 3 ways to do this, but you're correct. It uses, like, is it RTS and DTR or something like that? And I've had people say, well, why don't we just send those levels over the internet to the radio? And technically it does work, but I tried it once and it doesn't really work because there's enough leading and lagging on LAN communications. It's really strange.
I was going to say the
even
latency would screw that up, wouldn't it?
Even the latency on a local LAN, which can be 3, 4, 5 milliseconds, it's really weird.
Yeah. And how does the Maestro do it?
So the Maestro does it a little differently. There's a
He's
wing keyer
buffering
built
it,
into
isn't
the...
he?
No, actually,
Okay.
not as much as you think. So the remote keyer interfaces, or another product, I don't know if you're going to talk about side tone, Kyle, which is a very similar one. The wing keyer stuff. Actually,
So I've
forgotten, but there's 2 ways to do it. One way is to capture the character you send and send the ASCII character to the radio, like the letter A, and the radio sends the letter A perfectly. But you do lose any sort of fist you have. You know, it has to decode at the local end and send the character to the other one. I don't think, I can't remember what remote keyer interface does it. The other way that the Maestro does it does the same thing, but we actually capture the length of the element and the gap between the elements, and we send the timing to the radio in, probably millisecond sentences. And so if you have if you carry your last da, like a da 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 type of thing, it'll still sound like da 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 instead of da 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 type of, and so that's sort of the challenge for the remote operators that really love to be able to, guys that operate CW all the time, they can tell who's sending because they recognized their fist, right?
Yep.
And if we're going remote, that gets sanitized a bit. I think I've got to go read more about this. Kyle, roll down. It might say if it sends the timing elements or the ASCII characters. I can't remember.
Let's see. Trying to bring you guys off.
How does it work?
Connect radio.
It tells you how it works, but not how it works.
Yeah, it says, hey, it uses the network, and you plug it into your RS-232 port, and it just works. And you're like, okay, but how does it really work?
Well, we have a number of people using it, so it's worth giving it a shot. And you can do it without soldering.
So there's a couple of more. The sister to this is this WinFlex, WK Flex.
WK Flex, yeah, that's the other one.
And I'm actually going to have, I believe his name is Max. I'm going to have him on my channel in a couple of weeks, and we're actually going to configure this on live, and we're going to get this up and running. But yeah, Max, N5NHJ. And here's another solution that I've heard very good things about, and we're actually going to try and put this on Ward's. Oh, Max is here. Hey, Max, we're actually going to put this on Ward's N0AX's computer, and we're going to let him blow through it at 35 words a minute and see if he likes it.
So I'm going to take a minute and explain what's happening under the covers here and why we have to do this and why doesn't it work correctly. So keep in mind that if you send CW on any way, the CW side tone is generated on the device that is sending it. Okay, got that in mind? So we have a key plugged in the Maestro, the Win keyers in the Maestro, the elements are sent to the radio. That's how we hear the side tone. When you use N1MM or a contesting logger or some sort of other keying method, you're sending the commands to the radio. So there is side tone there. It's just generated on the radio. Well, that's not really great if you're remote, and so if you were running N1MM in the early days, you hit call CQ with F1 and the radio going to transmit, you wouldn't hear anything. So in WinKey or Flex, what he does is intercepts the command from N1MM and then generates the CW side tone on the local computer and then sends the command to the radio. That's why you have that funky COM port VSP setup type of thing. Now, the question is, why can't we bring back the side tone? And this has been a long ask and very well recognized. It's not as trivial as you think. So N1MM, remember I said if you send CQ from the computer, wherever you are, the side tone is generated on the headphone jack or the speakers on the physical radio. So you can bring it back in Mumble or Skype or, if you get creative, we can do a whole bunch of different ways that guys have done. So why don't we bring it back on DACs type of thing, and you could just make an active external speaker. So this is all under consideration. I don't know how we're going to solve it, but it will be delayed by the round trip time.
Right. Right.
Okay, so these are it's like the keyer over LAN. Yeah, you can make it work. It's just not useful. So these are the challenges.
Yeah. So tune in. We're gonna have Max on, and we're gonna go through how to set this up and hopefully get it up and running. And hopefully I can use this whenever I contest.
And Max, thanks for being here and writing this. All these tools are incredibly helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone who has written tools for the Flex Radio should be given a gold star. Like Ape, they should be given a gold star like his Miller Lite.
You just want a gold star for Node-RED on your wall.
No, actually, I am not the gold star writer. Dave DeCoons and Alan those two are the gold star members of the Node-RED community. They should be given a gold star and then some. So.
And a Miller Lite.
And a Miller Lite.
Absolutely.
Those guys are rock stars in the Node-RED world. I just do presentations and point people to Alan and Dave and say, go ask them.
What was Alan showing us last week? Satellite tracking software.
And get this, guys. This is what blows my mind, and I'm actually going to do a video on this. So he literally told ChatGPT to write him a satellite program. And
sure.
It literally wrote the satellite program, and then ChatGPT got a few things wrong, and Alan went back in and said, no, you need to use this, you need to do that. And it literally spit out a satellite program to track a satellite that was coming over Alan's house. It was amazing.
Skynet is here.
Be very afraid.
It was crazy.
I'm retiring, so I could care less, but be very afraid. Okay.
So anyway, Mike had said we got a couple more, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Mike had said I have sidetone installed. That basically what I use sidetone for, and keep me honest here, boys and girls in the chat. Sidetone basically takes my keyer from N1MM, so I set up a Win keyer, and I basically told it sidetone intercepts the Win keyer from between N1MM and sending it to the Flex, and basically puts a sidetone local to my computer in my ears so I can hear what's going on through whenever I'm keying through N1MM. And it took me a little bit to get this configured, but it works. It's I contest with this, and it seems to work. And yeah, Mike had said a little bit about this. Mike, you got, or anybody else have any questions or comments about sidetone?
No, I just wished he was named it something different so that when I need it, I can search on it and
Oh
find
yeah,
it.
yep.
But I happen to have it on my desktop, so that's why I knew where it was. So,
It's
but it's in the community, isn't it?
yeah, it's in the community. Whenever you install this, it doesn't put a desktop icon
Yeah,
for
that's right.
on default. So you have to like literally like, is it installed? So you have to, what is it called? So you have to search on SideTone. And the only thing that is a little bit confusing about SideTone is you have to install a COM port. What's the word that VSP, a virtual serial port, because
Yeah.
it's
Fair. Yeah.
you send the WinKeyer to a virtual serial port COM, and then you send it to SideTone, and then it comes back out, and then you send it to the Flex.
Mm.
So that's how that works. One more here. I have not heard about this one, but and I'm not really sure. Like it's all blown out here, but there's one called RX Assistant.
I'm
Mike?
glad you brought that up.
Mm.
So tell us about RX Assistant while I try and find a good.
So RX Assist is that tool you'll need if you're using receiving antennas on low bands. And often when you flipped your receiving antenna to RXA, and you were probably using a beverage, or maybe you're using an active antenna from DX Engineering, you would have had to adjust the AGCT or the preamps. Generally 160 on 80 at night in a contest, you've got all your preamps off. And the preamps I don't think are persistent as you change them on the receiving. So RX Assist gives you this pop-up, as soon as Kyle finds it, that it sits as you sit it right beside your logging program, and then you can punch it, and it will flip RXA to B, and then or whatever you want, and also bring in the preamp you need, because you almost always need a preamp running on like a loop or something smaller, especially if you're using diversity reception. Incredibly powerful tool. And there you go. And with diversity, you can listen to two antennas on different ears. And I had beam steering with my 5000. I actually think this is better, because beam steering sort of fell apart every time the ionosphere moved, which was pretty often. But the RX Assist thing by what was his call sign, Kyle? You had it up there, but
It is
Booster, but that doesn't mean anything to hams.
yeah.
But pretty powerful tool, that in combination with and you can set up hotkeys, so you can be in N1MM, but I think you can have a hotkey, like I forgot what it was, that just automatically flip in the receiving antenna. And if you're doing a contest type of thing, you often want to AB your receiving antenna to your main antenna while the guy's calling, because he's really faint, and you're hoping the receiving antenna is going to be better. So you just click in. I often love the DX Engineering box because it had a toggle on it. I could just reach up and punch it down and be on the receiving antenna and come back in a hurry. But
Yeah.
W9IE. There you go.
W9IE. Yep. Very good. Well, we've
That's a
reached
good one.
about that time. Anybody, Don, you got any final comments?
Well,
here?
I was just wondering, have you ever used SWR plotter?
Oh, I use that all the time.
I love that program.
Let's bring it
Hey.
up here.
K9DUR. So SWR plotter is a little quick and dirty. It's probably not for him, but I often do it for mapping my 160 meter antenna. And as my ground freezes up here in the Great White Smoky Canadian North, I'm surprised none of you guys brought that up yet.
We can't breathe enough to talk about it.
Yeah. As the ground freezes, the resonance point rises on my 160 wire vertical. So I have to go out about 6 feet. Yes, I could use a tuner, but I'm not a tuner guy, even though I have one there.
So you know what would probably work, or I could use this for? I remember this, but I haven't downloaded and I need to download it. But if you've got a station that has multiple antennas, go and get a baseline of all of your antennas, right? And do screenshots of all of your antennas of what the SWR looks like. So then whenever lightning strikes, you got mice in your cabinets, whatever the case may be, you can come back later and say, wait a minute, this does not look like the same SWR that it looked like 3 months ago. And then you can start your troubleshooting there. But having a baseline of your shack is always a good thing to do.
Yeah,
It's a
and
great shot of 100. Oh, go ahead.
well, I use this on my DX Commander because occasionally the bundles of radials will slip out, and that'll cause the SWR to change. And so you're looking at going, well, no, I need to go out and look at my antenna and make sure all the radials are connected. So,
Right. Yeah.
Yep. And as you add more radials, your bandwidth should get narrower. Your ground losses should get less.
mhm. Right.
Oh, that's another whole talk. Oh, my antenna's flat across the band.
Yeah. Yep.
You have a problem.
Hey Kyle, let me ask a quick question.
Sure.
Right. So as the guy here that's a fairly new Flex owner, right? I didn't have much to contribute. I'm just kind of sitting here looking pretty and listening to all the goodness, right? But if I've got this question, maybe some others do as well. So for me, right, I'm still learning all the functionality within the Flex. But the FR stack and the Slice Master, they have like immediate appeal when I hear you guys talk about those. I'm assuming there's enough granularity, configurability within those applications that I can have them both loaded. I can be running various functions or aspects of each of them at the same time without conflict, or, is there
Correct.
something to be worried about there?
No, and it's a great question, Robert, and I'm glad you brought it up. For as you come into this world now, and we're going to see other vendors get there as well. We grew up in a world where we had one cat port connected to a radio. The radio has one control port, and then everything had to run on the same computer. And hopefully, then we got creative to make it all work together. But it was for those of us that aren't super geeky network engineers, we would like shut down one logging program, bring up another, or WSJT. The minute we made a radio and put it on the Ethernet, it became no different than a web server type of thing, just a very specialized server. So to have all these things connect to the radio, and it can be from FR stack to Slice Master to Node Red, 3 things I run all the time. The radio happily supports them all and shares information among them. And the way it does it is, if you want to go over to our YouTube channel, Anna does a great talk for the developers. But even if you're not going to develop, you can see this flow of information that comes out in plain English from the radio. And it says, hey, my VFO's now, 15313.1, 0.2, 0.3. Now the Ethernet's pretty fast, so it comes in a big stream. And that allows the clients, whether it's the client we use, the user client, hit the search window in the, it's way down, go up, Kyle. See where the magnifying, the searchy thingy, right beside the about button. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
right here.
Put in Anna type of thing. And so it's designed to support all these applications at the same time and share the information equally. And by the way, this is probably the smartest network person I have ever met under the covers. But
Cool.
if you scroll forward a bit, I think, Kyle, you can just brings up a putty screen, right? And it shows the data flying by. And anyway, there's a whole bunch of different stuff here. But so to make it, yes, try it. Don't worry about it. Just like in the ham radio world, you're not going to break it. Not going to do it any damage. The worst thing you do is sometimes IP stacks get a little messy up, but it's no big deal. And she walks through this and says, okay, we're going to send a command to the radio. Then that blob you see that's going to pop up in a second is the data coming back from the radio. And this is what Kyle does, or anybody else, or Dave or Alan, grabs this packet of information as it flies by and said, what's my frequency? Or, what's my high pass filter, my low pass filter? So if you wanted to write a client, your own client, if you had the skills, you're an Android guy and you want to write your own Android app, here's all the information you need. Or Chromebook, you want to write a Chromebook app, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
So,
Down here in the what she's seeing or what's coming back from that radio, like in Node-RED, we just parse all of that stuff, and that's all of the
Is that coming
information.
back in like JSON, or what's that coming back?
Raw text.
Raw
No,
It's a
text.
raw,
Okay.
it's a raw socket. Telling
Yep.
that pipe. By the way, all those vertical little noise carriers. This is where I hate the waterfall. Going, where's that carrier coming from? If you're about 30 kilohertz apart, I learned that it's your LAN. Fortunately, they're pretty weak. Well, she gets to minus 95, but generally they're pretty weak.
So, Rob, I think that SliceMaster and FR Stack are two good programs that you want to start out in and get those configured, get used to them. That's what I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And you
those,
can, and I mean, and FR Stack does a lot of, but not nearly as complete as your Node-RED stuff that we did, a month ago or so.
True, but keep in mind, Node-RED is configurable by you, right?
Right,
You are your
right.
only limitation, right? FR Stack and SliceMaster, you're kind of at the mercy of what they want to implement. But a lot of Node-RED is for the people who want to tinker. The FR Stack and SliceMaster is for my dad that he just wants it to work.
The appliance user, and I say that in all kindness. It's just a great way. I'm a Windows guy, but when I get on my Mac, I'm an appliance user.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Oh, you have a network problem in your Mac? Yee.
Yeah.
You want to freak out Mac guys? Open a terminal and type in ifconfig,
Yeah.
and
What
they
do they
don't
do with all this?
they don't know what the hell that is. Most of them.
I do that all the time. Going, did I get an IP address? I went, holy crap! I got to run this through Page first. They'll pipe it through Page.
New Flex users need to learn profiles, and there's good videos. Mike's done good videos on
yeah,
profiles.
Yeah,
profiles are
Except
awesome.
for profiles.
I've got to do that. I have not messed with profiles hardly at all.
I love globals. I'm a big fan of, I don't like our autosave, and it's about 50-50 on the autosave on the mic and the transmit profiles. And so we've been prototyping some ideas. They've been backburnered because there's revenue related other things that have taken priority, but we'll get back to it. I love global profiles though, because they're like a snapshot.
Yeah, exactly.
And our engineering team's heard it and they've heard it. They know. So we've got
We'll have
cool
Mike back
ideas.
on, and I want to do a deeper dive into profiles, because I don't think
Yes.
I'm using profiles to the ability that I need to use them. So I think
I got really deep into profiles one time and ended up screwing up a bunch of stuff, so I've shied away from them ever since then. So I'd be interested in that
Amen.
discussion.
Same thing.
I'm an old school boy. I change bands. I look at all my settings. Maybe it's the pilot
Right.
in me, but
Right. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a control freak. When I want to go, I was like, I want to make sure I'm using the right profiles. You can set a microphone. You can set a Heil headset. You can set, data for the US for if you're doing digital work. So
I've got-
we'd be the first to admit there's a bunch of gotchas there that should work a little differently. And because I have a transmit profile that says, antenna 1, and then I have another one that says antenna 1 PGXL. But if I not pay attention and I on antenna 1 and I turn the PGXL online and I want to drop the power, I manually drop the power. So now I have antenna 1 at 50 watts and antenna 1 PGXL both at 50 when I want, this is sort of the type of thing. We'll get Dave on.
Oh yeah, Dave would be a good.
Dave's here.
I tell you though, but as a new Flex user, profiles are great, right? Because there's so many settings, right? And once you get something working, it's great to capture it, and you know that you can go back to that and it's going to work again.
Yeah, and I've got a profile just for about everything I do. From this one is 20 meter SSTV, this is 20 meter FT8, this is 20 meter SSB, this is 20 meter CW.
That's where the globals are great.
Yeah.
Well, the globals capture the other two, right? So you get the other two set, and then at least that's how it's been working for me. And I can, like, it'll set the DAX channel, it'll set all of that stuff just like I had it when it was working on FT8 before, or SSTV or whatever. So
Jody asks, downloadable standard profiles, can they be shared? I think you can export them.
Yes.
You
But
can
I don't know.
export all of them. Can I only export one specific? And I don't think so.
Okay.
And that's why I was just typing.
It's everything, and then you reload everything.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they recommend you do that every time you upgrade your software. So
All right. Anything else? Do you guys want to say your last 2 cents, and we'll call it a night?
I would love to hear, and just email me at info, but I really want to hear, what were the got yous? You took the radio to the box. You actually got the power connector hooked up. You got the LAN cable hooked up. You got the antenna hooked up. What? And I want this in writing, and then I'll go. I'm gonna go do the unboxing video type of thing for the new user. And so I want to know what I need to hit with those. I have something spinning in my head that says, okay, well, obviously you guys can figure out the back of the radio. Don't worry about, and I really want to say, don't worry about digital. So let's just listen, and that would be like the first night, and then the next night would be, setting up a microphone.
We
Well, I
we
don't
had-
want to sound like a fanboy or blow smoke, no pun intended. But the first suggestion is watch Mike's videos, which I'm serious. I'm not blowing
Wow,
smoke.
fanboy much, but
Yeah, I think I'm missing. I think I'm missing
Mine-
part though, and
mine
there's
was-
a bit of a gap in the middle. So
Mine
we're
was
gonna be
setting
doing-
up DAX.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
would be
that
night
was
too, though.
that was a little bit of drama with the digital stuff and going through
Yeah.
DAX. But
Yeah, I
the
have a great-
profiles, like Don's talking about, Don. One of the first things he said to me was, "You got to profiles of your friend," and to me, they're not real obvious how they're working.
I have,
Yeah.
but once a year I go print the manual. I go over to Staples here in Canada, and I can print it in black and white for about $25.
One of the functions of the profile is you can set up different profiles and have different slices, different pan adapters open, and have your radio set, save it, and then do another one a different way. And you can virtually have what apparently seems to be two different radios. So if you're hunting POTA, you open this profile and the pan adapter switch. If you're doing something else, you press the button. Contesting. I'm not a contester, but I want to be I want to grow up to be a contester. But you could press the profile. I don't know if it's global, but the global profile button, it'll change what's displayed on the computer screen.
yeah.
I have one for satellite work. I have a mode J and a mode B one because my antennas are all flipped around, right?
Mhm.
You know, Mike, a long time ago, maybe we should resurrect.
Resurrect.
I know where you're going. We should.
Resurrect.
Resurrect. Thank you, Don. Resurrect. We had talked about having a it was like a flex conference, right? Or a flex like training, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we were even thinking about hosting it in St. Louis and say, hey, everyone to fly to St. Louis, or now we could probably do it online because this was pre-COVID, and let's just geek out on flex stuff for a couple of days and have get started and the new users. So it was almost like a flex conference where
Yeah.
we
Like
just
Contest University, but Flex Radio
yeah
University.
it's just all flex radio the whole
we-
whole
we've
day,
talked
the
about
whole
that.
weekend, right? And
Mike, you did that once, right? Because I was in a like you guys sent out an email, and then we signed up, and then you led like an online Zoom session for an hour or so. And
Yeah, and I need to do that again.
yeah. So,
And
but not
again-
quite what Kyle's saying. We're like it's a whole week, but
We had talked about that at one point in time of doing it in Austin, have people come in and there would be a charge, but you
Yeah.
know, come in on a Friday, we'll do a Friday, Saturday type of thing and from the ground up. And we think that the buy-in with that would be quite reasonable. Then I said, well, we should do it in Vegas, only because Vegas, this is what Vegas does, not because it's Vegas.
yeah,
But Vegas rooms are inexpensive. This is what they do for a living. St. Louis is nice and easy
Central.
to get to, except in
Yeah.
Toronto.
If you do it down in Austin, let me know. I'll come record it.
The problem with Austin now is we can't even really do it in the building anymore because of the high secure other stuff we're doing. So it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense other than being there. We do it in the front lawn with the sign, but anyway,
Vegas would
always want to hear these ideas. Fire us emails at info. stop me from saying or so.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to go do the intro video again. The slide deck's all set up. Again, email us. We'll put one together. Maybe I'll just pull everybody that's received a radio so far this year and say, here it is, which I can easily do.
Yeah, cool. Very good.
Happy
And
to do it.
interesting note, at least to me, is you've got 6 guys on and 3 of us are from Texas.
What's
Yes.
Texas got to do with it, Don?
I
Yeah.
don't know, but there's 3 of us here.
What's it not got to do with it?
I'm sure that there are I'm sure that there's a lot of people in New
Flexes
York
in
that,
Austin. That's what it's about.
Flex is
that
in
owns
Austin.
Flexes.
Jim's not in Texas, and he's the only one without a flex at the moment. So
No, I got a flex.
I thought you were waiting on it.
No,
No, I'm waiting on a 6600. You're looking at a live 6300 right behind me.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you had the 60.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Anybody else? We're gonna
I'm
call it
copying
quits here.
Mexico on 6.
Oh, nice.
I was hearing some stuff on 6 and it died.
I hadn't seen nothing on 6 over here, but
it
All right.
happens.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think I'm gonna go back inside, but
Thanks, Jason.
You're outside?
I'm in my shack. Yeah.
Is it outside?
It's a building that sits outside that is enclosed. And
it's
yeah.
a shack.
One of those
It's a
few
total-
people with a shack with a shack.
It's an actual shack. Yes.
It's an actual
There you
shack.
go.
An
Oh,
actual shack. It's a 10 by 15 shack. So yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
If you watch his videos, he walks around it every once in a while.
Every now and then.
Yeah, you're just like, and
Every now and then.
I'm always surprised on how small it is.
It really, yeah. If I had it to do over again, I would have made it about 50% larger.
Yeah,
It looks bigger on the inside.
yeah,
man.
it totally
Yeah,
looks bigger
yeah,
on
yeah,
camera.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I
it's not-
look bigger on camera too.
That's-
If
I
watch
get-
his,
Every time I go to a ham fest, I get told I look taller on camera.
yeah,
Literally, I'm not joking.
that's okay. That's fine. I get told I have a face for radio. It was my problem with podcasts. There's so many great amateur ones. I actually have some other hobbies,
Right.
So I go listen to other ones. So
All right. Anything else, Mike? You want to
no, I'm good. This has
Okay.
hopefully been great.
Yeah, it's been great.
go listen to Don whenever he raps with HRCC. He's a driving force. FEP Labs, Digital Rancher, Ham Radio 2.0, Ham Radio Tectonics. They're all on YouTube. Flex Radio. Go subscribe to Flex Radio. Go buy a Flex. Go buy a PGXL.
Ham Radio Workbench,
Ham Radio Workbench. Mike is on
which
there
I'm on.
That's right.
with George and Thomas and Vince. And who else is on there now?
Rod.
Rod. Oh, Rod. Yep. Rod. Forgot about Rod. But yeah, that's a great podcast. Go listen to Ham Radio Workbench. And that's it. All right, everyone. Thanks. We'll have Mike back on, and maybe we'll talk about profiles or more Flex stuff.
You're gonna
but
make me do profiles.
well, everyone's wanting profiles. That's
Profiles, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mike's. I'm gonna email Mike after this. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go out of the country for 4 billion years.
That's it.
All right, guys. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Later.
We'll catch you on Thursday. I've got some type of stream coming up on Thursday, and I forgot what it is, but we'll see you on Thursday.
You have a calendar, right?
Yeah, I do.
Hey,
but
before you cut, I'm actually
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to Oshkosh. I'm going to Oshkosh for the first time this year. So, if you have any ham operators going to Oshkosh, let me know.
you're gonna do the fly-in?
I got invited to fly with somebody on a very fast plane that's pressurized, so I'm looking forward to it.
Wow.
Nice.
Fancy.
I did not know anything. All right, so hang on.
Here we go. Rat
Here we
hole.
go. I did not know that Oshkosh is the busiest airport for a weekend in America.
It's not-
Busier than Heathrow and Atlanta for the weekend.
In O'Hare. Yeah, it's a scary show.
I was watching videos a couple of months ago on they are landing planes like every 2 minutes or something like that. I mean, it's crazy.
They're landing them on the 3 planes on the same runway. You fly
yeah,
to the
yeah,
dot.
right,
Yeah.
right. It is crazy. Go watch landing videos of Oshkosh, and you're just like, these Cessnas are, they got A, B, and C, or red, purple, and blue, or something like that, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what are they doing?
I would not want to fly there. That'd be too
wanna
much
fly
pressure
there.
for me.
I'd
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I'll
I
drive.
like the challenge.
Oh, I know what I was going to remember. Next Thursday is Smitty Halibut from Halibut Electronics. He's
and
on
Ham Radio Workbench.
and
We
Ham
left
Radio
him out.
Workbench. We're going to go talk to Smitty about his electronics business that he has and all the cool things that he's doing. So that's next Thursday. But then next Monday, we are. I'm hitting all the Ham Radio Workbench people in a week. Thomas Witherspoon is going to be on the new CW Ops stream. So see Thomas. We'll talk about CW on Monday. So, all right.
Geez, I don't know, Kyle. Maybe we should just get you to join us tomorrow at 9:00 Eastern and go till 1:00 in the morning.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
No doubt.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We're out of here. We'll see you
73.
later. 73.
Hey guys.
Later.
3.